Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, viewers from all over the world. Welcome to Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. It's a beautiful Friday morning. Of course, it's the 23rd day of May 2025. Promises to be a great day as usual. This is Morning Spring. Here we talk about issues that matter to us as a people, issues that shape our nation. We do this from Mondays to Fridays from 7 a.m. in the morning down to 9 a.m. We start with newspaper reviews. And of course, we dive into interviews and conversations, powerful conversations that shape our nation. That is exactly what we do here every day on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television, StarTimes Channel 190 DTT. Thank you once again for joining us this morning. Emeka Daniel is my name. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we go straight to the newspaper headlines. Please stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. We started newspaper review this morning from the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Tinubu's endorsement, what Nigerians think. Tinubu's endorsement, what Nigerians think. A lot of endorsement has been coming in for the president. That's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself. Different players in the political, scene have been supporting him. The APC group, of course. What do you expect? APC governors supporting him. We have some other governors as well supporting him. Then, of course, recently we saw the National Assembly also giving him their support. Nominating him as their unanimous, a candidate for 2027. It doesn't come as a surprise, by the way. So that's talking about endorsement for President Tinubu. Moving to the top strip. Assassination claim. FG files criminal charges against Senator Natasha. Assassination claim. FG files criminal charges against Senator Natasha. You would recall that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan had made some claims about plot to assassinate her, and she fingered, indicted some key players in that claim. Talking about the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, and some other officials in that indictment. Now she's been dragged to court by the federal government. You can read up that story on page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Away from that, despite 6-time price cuts by Dangote, petrol costs still high. Despite 6-time price cuts by Dangote, petrol costs still high. You find that story on page 19. Absolutely, Dangote has reduced the price of petrol. 6 times now. Just recently, I think yesterday, price of petrol, Dangote reduced it by 15 naira again. But the truth remains, the price of petrol is still high. In Nigeria, judging by the fact that Nigeria is the 10th largest producer of crude oil in the world, the price is still high. It is what it is. Away from that, still on the front page of the Daily Trust this morning, League of Northern Democrats backs coalition against Tinubu. League of Northern Democrats backs coalition against Tinubu. You might want to find out who and who they're talking about. You can read up that story on page 11 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And just below that, we see quite a worrisome report. We have 1,593 Nigerians killed in road crashes in 3 months. 1,593 Nigerians killed in road crashes in 3 months, with riders, buses, trucks, trailers behind fatal road crashes. We have another one right there. Nigeria tops accidents death chart in Africa. Nigeria tops accidents death chart in Africa. Quite worrisome. And you can see the breakdown right there. Breakdown of Nigerians killed in road crashes in first quarter of 2025 alone, talking about from January to March 2025, we have total number of road crashes. We have 2,674 for Q1 2024, dropped a little to 2,650 for 2025. That's 0.9% decrease from Q1 2024 to Q1 2025. Then below that, we have total number of people killed. We have 1,471 for Q1 2024. Then we have 1,593 for Q1 2025. That's an increase of about 8.3% in the total number of people killed in road accidents in Nigeria. Then below that, we have total number of people injured. We have 8,659 for Q1 2024. Then we have 9,298 for Q1 2025. That's an increase of 9.4%. Talking about total number of people injured, and below that you can see other metrics as well. Talking about the timeline of the total road crashes in Nigeria. Quite worrisome, 1,593 Nigerians killed in road crashes in 3 months. And that'll be all from the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. We move straight to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Let's check out some of the stories making the headlines in the Nigerian Tribune this morning. APC adopts Tinubu as sole candidate for 2027. APC adopts Tinubu as sole candidate for 2027. One would say it's a no-brainer. I mean, judging by all the defections from other parties to the APC, what do you expect from the ruling party? That's the APC. So it's actually a no-brainer. They're endorsing Tinubu as their sole candidate for 2027. Below that, we are with riders, governors, National Assembly members endorse him at party's national summit. Below that, we have, I'm expecting more defections into ruling party. That's according to the president himself, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying he's expecting more defections into the ruling party. You can find that story on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. Away from that, moving on to other stories, still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Dangote Refinery reduces petrol price again by 15 naira. Dangote Refinery reduces petrol price again by 15 naira. Tinubu seeks National Assembly approval of 1.48 trillion naira 2025 reverse budget. Tinubu seeks National Assembly approval of 1.481 trillion naira 2025 reverse budget. That's a huge one right there. Now that Rivers State, we have a sole administrator, so of course, Tinubu is pushing for approval of the budget, which will be administered by the sole administrator, and of course, with oversight function from the National Assembly. Away from that, federal government files criminal charges against Natasha over assassination allegation. Federal government files criminal charges against Natasha over assassination allegation. You'll find a story on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. CBN's retention of 27.5% MPR disappointing, but logical, says Nasima chairman. CBN's retention of 27.5% MPR disappointing, but logical, says Nasima chairman. Below that, FG to inaugurate textile clusters in Lagos. Agro-processing hubs in Kano. Federal government to inaugurate textile clusters in Lagos. Agro-processing hubs in Kano. Talking about commerce and industry in Nigeria. Away from that, the Patriots National Constitution Summit Southwest delegates, others converge on Lagos. The Patriots National Constitution Summit, Southwest delegates, others converge on Lagos. Find a story on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And right below that, we have another headline. Tinubu inaugurates NNPC board, tasks members with boosting oil output. Tinubu inaugurates NNPC board, tasks members with boosting oil output. And finally, from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, Adesui Hastrop's coronation as Owa Obokun of Ijesha land holds today. You find a story. Owa Obokun of Ijesha land. It's talking about Adesui's Hastrop's coronation as Owa Obokun of Ijesha land holds today. You find a story on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. And that'll be all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Let's take a look at some of the stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. APC backs Tinubu. Opposition searches for strong competition. APC backs Tinubu. Opposition searches for strong competitor. Opposition searches for strong competitor. Of course, the opposition, we have to, put forward a strong competitor, a strong figure to compete with Tinubu. So far, we haven't really seen much from opposition in Nigeria. Majority of them have been defecting to the ruling party. That's the All Progressive Congress, the APC. But again, a coalition is brewing, let me use that word, when we have people like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Nasiru El-Rufai, Peter Obi, still in talks over, coalition, to form a coalition just to be able to, put forward a formidable opponent to tackle President Tinubu in the 2027 general election. So let's see how that plays out. Below that, still on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, APC, 22 governors declare Tinubu sole candidate for 2027 poll. APC, 22 governors declare Tinubu sole candidate for 2027 poll. Still on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. Amechi Imoke head anti-Tinubu coalition committee. Amechi, that's a former River State Governor, Rotimi Amechi Imoke, that's Liel Imoke, head anti-Tinubu coalition committees. You'll find a story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Away from that, 52,000 Nigerians relocated to the UK in 2024. 52,000 Nigerians relocated to the UK in 2024. You find that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. I ask again, what are Nigerians really looking for in the UK? I said it here before, and I'm saying it here again. There is nothing special about the UK. Apart from the fact that they have better systems, yes, but some of us still prefer it here in Nigeria. Yes, you can quote me anyway. Recently, the UK, they've been having some, they put forward some stringent immigration laws just to cut down on the number of immigrants coming into the country by reducing student visas, work visas, and of course, caregiver visas. There's been a great reduction in number of, people immigrating to the UK from about 860,000 in 2023 to about 431,000 in 2024. So they are making real progress, trying to tighten immigration laws in the UK. But again, we have 52,000 Nigerians moving to the UK in 2024. Away from that, just below that, we have 13,500 terrorists, others killed in 2 years. 13,500 terrorists, others killed in 2 years. That's according to the National Security Advisor. You find a story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Moving to the top strip now, still on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. FG directs AMCON to begin shutdown process. Federal government directs AMCON to begin shutdown process. You find a story on page 18 that's talking about the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria. They are to begin shutdown. If you want to find out details, please pick up the Punch newspaper and just check page 18 to find details of that story. Away from that, Otedola hails Tinubu, Cardoso's reforms as First Hold Co regains profitability. Otedola hails Tinubu, Cardoso's reforms as First Hold Co regains profitability. With the rider invested 320 billion naira so far on the back of First Hold Co's promising future. That's talking about Otedola right there, hailing Cardoso and Tinubu's policies. That's one thing about Nigeria. If it favors you, then of course you start singing the praises of the leader, of the president. While a lot of Nigerians are complaining about these same policies, we have some people who are being favored and they are singing the praises of the president. Different strokes for different folks, you might say. That'll be all from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. Moving on, let's move to the front page of the Nation newspaper. Let's check out some of the stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning. 2027 APC NWC governors, federal lawmakers endorse Tinubu. 2027 APC National Working Committee governors, federal lawmakers endorse Tinubu. With the rider, President accepts sole candidacy, promises better days. President accepts sole candidacy, promises better days. Like I said before, it's a no-brainer that they are supporting him. We've been seeing a lot of defections lately into the ruling party. Just yesterday, we talked about the fact that some federal lawmakers might actually have been influenced by, monetary gains, so to speak, increase in allocations to them, allocations for, constituency projects and all that. And for state governors, because of them have had increase in their allocations. So again, people are tilting towards the money bag. So congratulations to you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for winning over more and more. And he said he's still expecting more people to defect to the APC. Why not? He's playing his game well. Once again, congratulations. Away from that, still on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning. Otedola, Tinubu Cardoso's policies revive investor confidence. I'm still talking about Otedola right there. Singing the praises of Tinubu and Cardoso, that's Olaimi Cardoso, the president of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Away from that, moving on to other stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning. Federal government files criminal charges against Natasha. Federal government files criminal charges against Natasha. With the rider, Akpabio Yahaya Bello to testify. Akpabio Yahaya Bello to testify. Of course, those were some of the key figures indicted in that allegation of assassination attempt against Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. And inside we have President dismisses one-party fears. President dismisses one-party fears. Umahi, Pate, Ribadu give scorecards. Umahi Party Ribadu gives scorecards. Then below that we have defections should be driven by conviction, not convenience, says Ganduje. Defections should be driven by conviction, not convenience, says Ganduje. That's talking about the APC chairman. Saying defections should be driven by conviction. So again, as a Nigerian, as an ordinary Nigerian, you might be asking, what is the conviction of the politicians defecting to the APC? What exactly is their conviction? Because when you win an election on the platform of a political party and midway into your tenure, you decide to dump your political party who gave you that platform in the first place. If you really have character, if you have any conviction, the right thing to do is to resign your appointment, okay? Is to resign you relinquish your position. Since you have fresh convictions, you no longer believe in the party that brought you into office, then you should resign. Since you have convictions now, you should resign, then contest again under the platform of your new party. But we're not having that in Nigeria. So what exactly is the kind of conviction Ganduje is talking about right here? You might want to find out by picking up the Nation newspaper and reading up that story yourself. Just below that, take message to grassroots. That's still on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Let's look at the bottom strip. Moving to the bottom strip, President seeks National Assembly's approval for 1.481 trillion naira reverse budget. President seeks National Assembly approval for 1.481 trillion naira reverse budget. Quite interesting. And right there you see the picture of some dignitaries, President Tinubu. Of course, that was yesterday at the event right there. That will be all from the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning, and that also brings us to a conclusion of the newspaper review segment on the program this morning. Don't forget, we still have interviews coming up, so you don't want to miss that. We'll take a short break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us.
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
The Garden Road National Park is a very important park because it actually has two biomes, the marine biome and the terrestrial biome. It's not a lot of parks in the South African national parks that actually boast these biomes. Being involved in both marine and the terrestrial has actually made me fall in love with conservation all over again.
The Tsitsikamma MPA is the oldest marine protected area in Africa. And what an MPA is, they're areas of coastline and marine environment that have been set aside for conservation and more effective management. You're not only protecting populations, but you're protecting entire habitats.
To protect the coastline, we do foot patrols, we do vehicle patrols. We set up an observation post to look out for any illegal activity that is happening on the marine side and also the forest.
Most of the things that we encounter are people poaching, putting snares so that they can actually catch the mammals. People that come to collect the plants which are protected. On the marine side, we normally have issues with overfishing. Sometimes they fish without permits.
When it comes to poaching, the first thing that comes to mind will be rhino poaching, and forgetting about the other species, which will be your abalone, which is also listed now as an endangered species.
To be able to protect those species against